The more hurry, the less speed. I was going too fast there and threw it off balance. Come on, come on, come on, don't turn around. There we go. Isn't that marvellous? Mirroring on the water of the clouds and the heavens. Have to love it. This incredible gift of nature we have on our planet. So still. I had a bit of a dream to get up on the mountain this morning. Between one thing and another, these are really tiny flowers. Let me show you here. That's my finger. I want to get up on the mountain because tomorrow it's going to be raining again. At least the predictions tell us from about midday today for the next 2 days. And after the rain, it's not easy to walk up there without getting all muddy. And then the time that entails to get straightened out afterwards. We got a bird here that's going to fly shortly. We get a little closer. I just left away at the wrong moment. So let's walk down the road here further down. We weren't down there for quite a while. A work of creation. And we needed to get up to see some of the new calves. I'm sure there are more new calves up there. God willing, another day next week. I'm filled with hope with the readings today. They're marvelous. He has rent, but he will mend. It is he who has rent, but he will heal us. And there's obviously the historical background of the exile and Hosea's words at his moment. But these words of scripture are so inspirational for us today. And the thought of all the rending, all the brokenness, all the conflict, that we ourselves cause through much belligerent activity from the kitchen to the international table. And it hasn't spared the communities of faith at all. So much passion involved there. They've cut all along the lake here, the surface, mowed it down. So the rending is really the result of a lot of selfishness and division, hostilities, full-blown egotism with all its sour fruits, poisonous fruits. But he will heal us. And what an amazing word of hope is that. He will heal us. Yesterday afternoon, I was almost going to do a short post or two. There were about 350 evangelical kind of messianic styled pilgrims here at Magdala, and they were having a little time of prayer at the lake just up there near our outdoor boat altar. And I was invited to welcome them and a little impromptu word. And I couldn't believe what happened, that I started speaking about a disciple who was passionately in love with Jesus and whose whole life was deeply saturated and penetrated and transformed by sacred scripture and the communion with God. I had no shortage of sufferings of every order, but left such a mark in history, St. Patrick. And I had done it with a certain tongue-in-cheek in a way, but also I just felt compelled to do it. And then afterwards, the reflection came to me, how is it possible that I'm invited to speak to 300 and something messianic Christians and start talking about St. Patrick? Obviously, I was very sensitive to their reticence to talk about saints, you know. But on the other hand, all the biblical figures, we talk about them. So I just had the nerve to do it, and we had a great laugh afterwards with the rabbi and with some other folks there. And this morning, when this line was inside my mind, he has torn, he has rent, and he will heal. Imagine if we apply this to all of our Christian communities that are broken. All the division between us Christians. He has rent, and it's not that God broke us up, it's more like our selfishness, our shortcomings, our lethargy, our tiredness, our inability and dysfunctionality to work with others and to talk things through, our prejudices. He has rent and he will heal us. He will heal us. So we have to open our hearts for this healing. We have to want to be healed. Even the guy that was 38 years at the pool of Bethesda in Jerusalem, and the first question Jesus asked him was, do you want to be healed? Do we want to be healed? This is a grass. There's in full bloom, just like the other cultivated crops are now entering into ripening, for barley for Passover and wheat for the Pentecost feast. He has rent and he will heal us. And think about families. You know, sometimes we think those big leaders need to get together to fix the world's problems. You know, we need to get Putin together with the guy in Ukraine and get some big other president involved from some other powerful country, and why don't they sit down and fix things? But before we throw those stones, let's look at our own kitchen, our own neighborhood, our own siblings, spouses. How much harsh words have been spoken, how much hostile attitudes have been developed and nurtured, and memories not let go, and grudges and ill will and hurt carried. And to be able to get together and the get together is not easy, you know. You can't just get together with somebody you broke his nose and give him a big hug and say, I love you. That has to be healed over time. He has rent and he will heal. Come, let us return to the Lord. It is He who has rent, but He will heal us. And there's extraordinary power in that. A very different type of grass here. It hasn't blossomed yet, it's just beginning. The greening is coming. Each one has a season to blossom. And also the reconciling in our families has a season to blossom. The reconciling among neighbours has a season to blossom. And we can hasten the season with our prayer, with our desire, and it will blossom and flourish into an amazing garden of new relationships and growth. It's extraordinary joy and fulfillment when broken relationships are rebuilt at work, with colleagues, supervisors, with people who work under leadership. To rebuild. He has rent, but He will heal. The big rock is still there, guys. There used to be a structure on top of that. There's some archaeological stories about it. Historical accounts. It is He who has rent, but He will heal us. He has struck us, but He will bind our wounds. He will revive us after 2 days, and on the third day He will raise us up. And we're heading toward that great third day of the resurrection. Less than a month away, actually about 3 weeks away, right? And that's not just something that's outside of us, something that's historically a long time before us. It's us. It's our life. It's for us and for our salvation. And we have a part in it. We can be part of the healing. We have to be part of the healing. Because He who created us without us will not redeem us without us. Famous wise saying of very learned theologians. I think that was Augustine. People who have pondered these things a lot with great acumen, great brilliance. So we're called the action, you know. Parents are trying to reconcile two little siblings after a teddy bear fight, and one is still sulking. That can be us. That can be us. We can be still sulking. So we need to shake a leg there, make a move, just say hello. Gosh, the person didn't say hello to me for years, and then I just said hello. Imagine new springtime coming. Just say hello. I was talking with a very ardent preacher of how fast Jesus is coming around the corner, you know. Next 2 weeks, next 3 weeks, next month, next year, He's almost here. Read the signs of the time, apocalyptic things happening. It's amazing. And people get into a big euphoria about this and big excitement about this. And they can bring some scripture verses even to the table to make a case for this. And then the thought was, and the question was, why don't we motivate our people to dry a tear of a child? Because in that Jesus is already here. He's not going to come in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time. He's in the drying of the tear. He's in the binding of the wound. He's in the making of the sandwich. He's in changing the diapers. Jesus is here now. We're so tied to worldly things, you know. And then there's this other pole of the rapture. And like this big excitement and expectation. But the rapture is now. When I lift up somebody who's depressed, who's sad, who encourage them, I lay down my life for them. That's when I'm taken up into the great plan of the Almighty taken up to another perspective, another sphere, to eternal union with God in the beauty of every creation He has, and every one so different. Look at all the flowers we saw this morning, all the different ones, and the millions of them, and the flower that's in your heart and your life that the Lord wants to bring to full bloom. I think I have a feeling that we're kind of done our little bit this morning. So let's say see you later, alligators. And check out those readings. They're wonderful, especially in the gospel there, the guy who's going into the temple to pray, judgmental of so many around him. And there he walks away watching the other guy who was a humble sinner saying, Lord, have mercy on me, a sinner. I have rinsed so much, I have hurt so many. Have mercy on me. Change me, heal me, renew me. See you later, alligators.